NativeScript Sidekick is a desktop development tool with a number of really powerful features for NativeScript developers. To get started, head to nativescript.org/nativescript-sidekick and click the big blue download button. Sidekick is available for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, so download and install the appropriate version for your development machine. Sidekick is a companion to the NativeScript command line interface, so you'll also need to install the NativeScript CLI from npm before getting started. To do so, open your terminal or command prompt and run npm install -g NativeScript. Once that finishes, you're ready to get going, so go ahead and open Sidekick. When you do, you'll see a screen that looks like this. From here, the first thing you'll want to do is click this Create button to start a new app. On this screen, you'll see one of Sidekick's coolest features, a full suite of NativeScript starter kits. These starter kits help you get up and running quickly using common application patterns, such as drawer navigation, tab navigation, and master detail apps. All starter kits are available for JavaScript, for TypeScript, and for Angular, so no matter your personal preferences, you should be able to get up and running fast. For now, let's go with Angular, a drawer navigation app, call it Hello World, and go ahead and create. This command will take a few seconds, as under the hood, Sidekick is using the NativeScript CLI to scaffold out your new app and install its dependencies from npm. When it's done, you'll see the following dashboard screen, where you can do things like manage your app's metadata, icon assets, and plugins. But the real power of Sidekick comes from this Run menu at the top of the screen. Let's start with Build. Here, you can perform full iOS and Android builds of your NativeScript apps. You can choose to build locally if you have the necessary SDKs and requirements set up on your machine, or, and this is where things get really cool, you can use Sidekick's Cloud Build feature. With Cloud Builds, you have the ability to perform application builds without needing to have the underlying native system requirements installed locally, which makes a number of cool things possible, like building iOS apps on Windows or Linux-based machines. Sidekick lets you build iOS and Android apps, and it also lets you run those builds directly on devices using this Run on Device menu. Here, you can see that Sidekick is smart enough to automatically detect any devices that you have connected, whether those devices are simulators or physical devices connected via USB. In my case, you can see that I have both an Android emulator and an iOS simulator running. I can do either local or cloud builds, and push those builds out by clicking the Run on Device button. While this is running, I'm going to go ahead and minimize the Sidekick screen. I'll bring over my Android emulator and my iOS simulator. Now the builds will take some time, as Sidekick is performing both an iOS and Android application build. I can open up the Output tab if I want to get an idea of where things are at, and through the magic of video editing, our build is now complete. Remember that we picked a drawer navigation template, so our app automatically starts with this basic drawer navigation in place. Next, what I want to do is open up this app in my text editor of choice, which in my case is Visual Studio Code. And what I want to show is that if I make changes to this application, so this string matches up with this string you see here, I'll go ahead and save this change. And what I want you to notice is how those changes get pushed out to all of my devices automatically. There's the Android emulator and the iOS simulator as well. This is because Sidekick not only builds and deploys your apps, it also watches your code for changes and pushes those changes out to each of your devices automatically. Now there's one last feature I want to show you. To do that, we'll go back to Sidekick. I'm going to open this Devices menu. Here, you can again see a list of devices that Sidekick detects, but you can also see a little debugging icon. If you click that, Sidekick opens the NativeScript Chrome Developer Tools debugger, which lets you do a number of things to debug your apps, such as inspecting the visual tree of your application, seeing your application console, looking at your JavaScript and TypeScript source code, including the ability to step debug on those files, and also view network activities, such as API calls and backend calls. All in all, NativeScript Sidekick is a powerful companion that you can use for your NativeScript app development. With easy ways to get started with Sidekick starter kits, easy way to build your apps, both locally and in the cloud, and easy ways to develop your apps, using Sidekick's watching and debugging capabilities, Sidekick has the potential to greatly accelerate your NativeScript app development process. So what are you waiting for? Head to nativescript.org/nativescript-sidekick and download Sidekick today.